I won't even balk because I've been trained to take pain. OK, I've taken pain all my life. Here we go. I'm told there should be an explosive reaction. There won't be from me. I'm going to count you down. 3, 2, 1. Don't breathe. It's on the back of my throat. It's like it's it's like drinking cement, which then mixes with the saliva in your mouth. It hardens up, forming a barrier across my throat. I'm having great difficulty in breathing. Perhaps it wasn't such a good idea to do this for a man who's got such a dodgy heart. It only works at 1/3 of your heart because I've got acute heart failure. I tell you what, in about 3 minutes' time, I might have total heart failure. Believe me, that wasn't pleasant, but I'm glad I did the challenge. I thought I bore up better than some of the people I've seen. I'm going to keep storing my mouth. Excuse me. I passed the challenge.
Thank you. No.
This is the kind of thing that he gets up to, unfortunately, when he's got too much time in his hands.
Can you imagine Fatso doing that? Can you?
Well, I wouldn't do it.
Imagine Fatso doing that?
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do anything like that. I've challenged you on several occasions to a 2-mile fast-paced walk from our office over the bridge, over the bridge.
Yeah.
Down the other side of the embankment and back again, and you've turned it down every time.
I mean, to be honest, given your sense of direction, given your sense of direction,
bloated, overweight, horrendously unhealthy twat.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yes. Well, you are.
Yeah.
You are.
It's amazing, isn't it?
What are you going to do when you die and your children are still in their teenage years? What are you going to do?
The fucking time, right? We've now got
what?
We've now got less than 10 minutes left because you've been, blathering on. I wouldn't go on a race with you.
I'm so sorry.
You'd never find your way back.
I know you'd like
would
more
never
than 10
find your
minutes
way
more
back.
of me, wouldn't you? But not 10 more minutes of him.
Yeah.
So you have to compromise.
This is why Porky's never been an editor of anything.
What?
You don't understand editing. You don't understand that you have to do things for a certain period of time.
Oh, really?
You write far too many words for a little space.
I've been in charge of big organisations.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
What have you ever been in charge of?
What?
What have you ever been in charge of?
No.
The London Daily Express.
Funny enough.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know what we're going to do now? I'll tell you what. Before you start getting into that, because we have so little time, we're actually going to do a Porky quiz now.
No. But I want to. I must just answer that question before you do. Only 3 weeks ago, I accepted with great pride the presidency of Gosport Sea Scouts. What's your problem?
Yeah.
What's your problem?
Gosport Sea Scouts.
Yes.
Who did they ask first?
Well, hang on. My father was a Second World War hero in the Royal Navy.
So he said.
So I've got history in.
What do you have to do for the Gosport Sea Scouts? Go around on sort of missions handing out stale beer to the homeless?
No, I do that as an act of charity.
So what are your responsibilities as the head of Gosport Sea Scouts?
To motivate the boys. Motivate.
What, teach them how to cheat?
What?
Teach them how to fuck people over? Teach them how to abandon their friends?
It's a bit harsh, isn't it? A bit harsh. I paid for them to go on the Gosport ferry last week.
That's 50p each way, isn't it?
£2.10.
Well, I wouldn't know. I only went one way on it because I didn't stay at your fucking locked room house.
See? Well, would you want him to stay in your house? Would you want him to stay in your house? Would you?
Yeah, let's do the Porky quiz. Normally what we do with the Porky quiz, of course, is ask Porky whatever his favourite subject is, and he gets 3 out of 10, or 2 out of 10, or 1 out of 10. But what we do on a live show...
That's because he gerrymanders the answers, you all know that.
Yeah, well, you can't...
Gerrymanderer.
Well, we're not going to gerrymander the answers in the live show, because what happens is we ask you about your life, right?
About my life.
About your life. This is a Porky quiz about you.
In my life.
So, bear in mind
Beatles track.
that this clock is counting down, right?
Okay, come on, get on with it.
Get on with it. As you can.
Right.
Can you talk us through the act of kindness that you showed to your accountant, who was down on his luck,
yes,
having lost his house in a divorce?
Well,
you met him in Fleet Street.
I did. It was a difficult one. Problem was, I met him in Elvino's, and I said, look, I think we've got to change things here because I'm paying too much tax. And he turned up in a suit that was stained with food, which is not good. And he asked me for the next quarterly money. And I said, what's the problem, David? That was his name, obviously.
Don't give his name away.
Yeah. And he said, I've had a bit of bad luck. I said, what happened? He said, well, my wife went off with the gardener, and the gardener started giving her, Lady Chatley's lover, yeah. And I said, yeah. He said, she then kicked me out of the house. I said, right. He said, so I was a gentleman, so I went and lived in a rented house nearby. And then 3 months later, and this is absolutely tragic, his wife died of breast cancer. The gardener inherited the house, which was worth £1 million. It was a tragic story,
And so what did you do to help him?
Well, sadly, I had to sack him because, yeah.
That same day?
Well, he'd taken to the drink and he was very incompetent. Yeah.
Has he ever spoken to you since?
Well, I don't take his phone calls, to be honest, He'd probably be begging for money, you know what I mean? What can you do with a guy like that? Yeah.
Man of the people.
Yeah.
You got to fire him. Now, we've talked a lot about food. In various shows. People would love to hear once more your particularly unique recipe for pear flan. Can you give it to us?
I don't know why you make a joke of this. It's not difficult.
It's not a joke. It's a question.
Do you want the absolute truth?
I want the pear flan recipe.
Absolute truth. I'm walking through Tesco's. I'm a man with an eye for a bargain.
Do you think he's saying to people, do you know, I won the Tesco Book Award a few years ago?
Yeah.
And I've got the keys to a Mercedes. What are you looking for?
I'm walking through Tesco's and I pass the old out-of-date, counter or whatever.
Amazingly, you're not in it.
He's very clever tonight, isn't he? Fat swat.
5 minutes.
And I see within the out-of-date stuff a flan case made of flan,
Made of flan.
Yeah. But in one of these big perspex things, So I buy that and I think that'll taste great. But what I put in it, I decided on a pear flan. So
Any chance you might have been shit-faced at this point?
No. So I bought a tin of pears, and I went home. And it took me, I'm not joking, it took me about 20 minutes to get the flan case out of the blasted plastic, which is so strong. I had to use my scissors in the end, the scissors I used to, cut things out of newspapers.
Cut things out of newspapers?
Yeah.
When you're blackmailing people? Or like the headlines?
That's it, yeah.
Give me a proper job.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. And so I got the flan, and I...
Dickhead.
No. I made a bit of a mistake because I didn't realise there was so much pear juice in a tin of pears, to be honest, And
Did you think you'd open it and it'd just be like a pear? With skin on?
I did.
And a stalk?
I did. So I got the can of pears and I went whoomp like that into the flan case, and it all went soggy and fell apart because there was so much juice, and I didn't realise. I thought it would just be pears, but it ruined it, and so. And I'd put it on a plate that was too small for the flan case, so it fell all over the floor. So it wasn't really
It's not really much of a recipe, to be honest.
No, it wasn't a good idea.
Why don't you just fucking boil it like you do for everything else?
I'll do it different next time. I'll drain the pear juice off inside the can.
Or just put it all in water and boil the fuck out of it. Why don't you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Okay,
yeah.
now,
Why
next
don't you stick
question.
your fucking head in a pan and boil your head?
Next question.
It'd look better boiled. Yeah.
Is it true
Yes.
that Rudolf Nureyev picked you to give his final deathbed interview
Yes.
to
Yes.
on account of your incredibly brave stance on the subject of HIV, AIDS, and homosexual human rights?
Well, it wasn't quite like that. What happened was...
You got less than 3 minutes here.
Yeah, what happened was, I was over in St. Bart's trying to find out what had happened to my mate Rudolph, you know, and by...
When they sent him on the story first, he thought he was looking for a fucking reindeer.
No. By rat-like cunning, I found his mansion in St. Bart's, and I climbed over the back wall, and I walked up to his house, and the doors were open to his bedroom. No, I'm not joking. I walked in, and amazingly, Rudolf Nureyev, the great Rudolf Nureyev, who, you know, I'd barely heard of, frankly, but I mean, he was one of the greatest ballet dancers in history. He was lying in his bed like this. He was like that. And I thought, this is a moment of journalistic history. And I went up and I whispered in his ear, Rudolph, how are you? I mean, he was...
Did it remind you of Trudy?
No, he was honestly dying. I mean, I could see his lips had gone blue. He was very close to death. And it was... I said, Rudolph, what do you regret about your life? And he went... And then thirdly, my third question was, Rudolph, if you could have your life over again, what would you do? Anyway, I got nearly 7 pages of a story out of that, to be honest, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was award-winning stuff.
Did you actually win an award for it?
I didn't actually win an award.
No.
I should have done,
No.
but I mean, you know. But
so it's not technically award-winning.
It was better than when I saw Peter Sellers on his deathbed, because I pretended to be a doctor. I put a white coat on, went right up to his bed, and I looked at him and I thought, it's definitely Peter Sellers, and he definitely doesn't look too good. So I did the old Peter, how are you? You know.
By the way, I should point out at this point that
Yeah.
when we came into Head and Chickens tonight, we
Yeah.
saw a guy who we've been working with for almost the whole year. We've been here 10 times to do shows, and he went up to this guy and went, Mark, great to see you. How are you, mate? The guy turned around and went, I think you got me mistaken for somebody else.
I did, yeah.
So we don't know if that was Peter Sellers.
No.
We don't know if it was Rudolf Nureyev.
No,
you got 30 seconds.
No. It was Peter Sellers, so I rang the desk very excitedly, and I said, "Hi guys, last interview with Peter Sellers, got him on it, you know." And the guy at the other end, who was the news editor, so what did he say to you? I said, "Oh, tell me all about his life and all that." He said, "That's a very, very interesting conversation you must have had with him, Mike." I said, "Why?" He said, 40 minutes ago, the Press Association put out a splash saying he died. Oh, well, you know, delayed shock reaction, whatever it was, you know." Yeah. Nevertheless, these things happen.
We haven't got any time to ask you the last question, unfortunately, because
Quick.
It is the time to go. I'll ask you one more question.
Okay.
Is it true that you actually knowingly took a telephone call on the air at TalkSport from a guy whose wife you were rogering?
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I knew that...
Don't give his name away.
No, I won't. No, I won't give his name away. All the time...
He wishes, yeah.
All the time I was involved in intimacy with this young lady, who was very attractive.
30 seconds at a time.
She used to say to me, she said,
5 years.
She says, I feel very, no, she said.
Violated?
No, I feel a bit guilty.
Desecrated?
I feel guilty. I feel
Dirty?
guilty. I feel guilty because my
Stupid?
husband, you know, talks about you all the time. And we listen to you in the car sometimes. And sometimes in the car he gets very excited. You know, like, oh, Porky and all that. And she says, I feel so guilty because I know that you're screwing me and my husband's driving the car.
Well, she was aware of it as well.
Eh?
She was actually aware of the fact that you were fucking her. Unlike most of your ex-girlfriends, who only discovered it later.
This is very nice, isn't it, you see? Are you trying to make out you're some sort of Lothario?
Not at all.
Hey?
No.
Hey?
No,
Do you know
not
what
at
you
all.
are? Do you know what you are?
Do you know what the time is?
You're the perfect description of a man who should be described like this. Your physical presence with a woman is like a wardrobe with the key stuck in the lock.
Yeah, stolen.
Okay?
Stolen once again
And
from
you knock
somebody
it
else.
over
Right?
and it has no effect
You've
whatsoever.
stolen that from somebody else, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Time to fuck off now.
Soames.
Get back in your
Soames.
fucking cage.
No.
Back in your fucking
No,
box.
hang on.
Look into the light. Look into the light.
Yeah.
It's all over.
One last word, folks. Remember, never give up Rogerization. Never give up bladderation. And never give up treating people like this. That's it.